Hello, and welcome back to AntsGamingSuite. This is your host, Anthony, back with a new Battle Royale game. If you guys haven't seen my previous video, make sure you guys head on over there and watch that video. It is pretty much a new Battle Royale game. This one takes it to a whole new level. Yes, I am talking about Naraka Bladepoint, an outstanding addition to the BR family. And while the game's non-shooting close-range combat brings innovation to the already popular genre, I think it is so much more complicated than any others. And that is why I'm here to share with you my top 10 tips and tricks to be a better player right off the bat in this new Naraka Bladepoint beginner guide. But before we jump into it, make sure you hit the subscribe, smash that like button so the video can help out more players. And without any further ado, let's get started. So let's get into it. Tip number 10, don't skip the tutorial. The first and one of the most useful things you can do as a beginner is to complete the tutorial that you get at the start of the game. Now, most of you guys are probably going to be like, okay, this is just another Battle Royale game, and I'm sure I'll get the hang of it in no time. Although, it will take you more time to wrap your head around the new combat system, the mechanics that this game has to offer. So let's just drink up your ego and take some time to learn the basic rules of the game first, especially how the combat system in the game works and what weapons would fit in your combat style and what not. So that's tip number 10. Tip number 9, get to know your heroes. One of the things that you really need to get right off the way is learning about the heroes. Like, do this in the first game. You really want to understand the heroes that you're going to be playing with. There is currently 7 characters that you can pick from, each with their own unique skills and abilities that actually might be more suitable as your play style. So make sure you guys check it out. There's a whole bunch of training tutorial that you can do to be able to learn your characters, make sure you read those skills and whatnot. Anyway, it's more like finding the perfect, I guess, Apex Legend character, which highly affects your performance. Same way, if you can find the hero that feels more like you, nailing a win won't be a problem at all. Tip number 8, manage your expenses. I'm not gonna lie, it really is tempting to customize your hero, throw some tags at your favorite cosmetics to make it look really cool like I have, and while it is kind of satisfying, overspending on your tags will only make things worse for you in the long run. Instead, these cosmetics can also be bought with gold points, and while it might look like you are saving some money by using tags instead of your gold, you are actually spending more, and the fact that you can only buy Glyphs with tags will only make things worse for you. Tip number 7. Learn the basics of the combat. One of the most important things you can do in this game is to learn the basic rules, because unlike any other game, Naraka Bladepoint combat system is very unique. It is a rock, paper, scissors rule, which makes each of the 3 attacks you can have always provides you a way to counter, and both you and your opponent stands equal chance in combat. Alright, although it sounds easier when you start using it in fights, things get a little bit more complicated, and you really have to practice a lot to get used to this sort of combat system. Tip number 6, make Parry your best friend. Out of the 3 attacks, you do get the basic, the charge, the parry. You really need to ace parry in order to throw off your opponents. And the best way to use parry to your advantage is getting to know your opponent's combat style. If your opponent is spamming the basic attack, chances are that his third attack will be a charge one. If you pay little attention to it, you might just parry his charge attack and it will be total lethal to your opponent as it throws them off and you have the chance to dismantle them, which puts you in a great advantageous position. Tip number 5, don't spam collect items. One of the most common things that I see amongst new players is spamming the E button to collect the items on the ground. Just don't do this. Instead, what you could do is, when you have a bunch of items on the ground, you can hit the tab and a list will pop up on the left hand side corner, and you can single-handedly select what you want. You can just scroll through the list and find the ones that best suit you. This way it can save you time in terms of organization and whatnot. Tip number 4 might save your life, okay? Glyphs is very important. A lot of beginners don't really pay attention to the glyphs, and I don't blame them, because when I started playing the game as well, I didn't really pay too much attention of the glyph myself, but now that I know how useful they are, I would totally suggest you check them out, as there are a bunch of cool glyphs that you can get that will increase your performance in certain areas of combat, your range, your agility, your healing, and so much more. So make sure to keep an eye out on those when you upgrade them and be one step ahead of your competition. Complete your quest. So one of the most important ways to earn tays in the game, which is the in-game currency, is completing the quests. You can find a whole bunch of them marked on the map when you're in game, and most of these quests are really basics and you can make a good profit without having to invest a lot of time in doing so. And while you're at it, you can also loot your opponent and you might just get a bunch of tays. So just remember, every single tay counts. Tip number 2, grappling spools are live. Grappling hook is one of the best features, I gotta say, in the game. I personally love it, not because I like to flee the scene or something, which I definitely do sometimes, but because you can literally do anything that you want with them. But they do have a limit in order to keep taking them off, so you need to get a lot of grappling spools, and I mean a lot. So don't take these tips for granted, because you'll definitely thank me later. And last but not least, tip number 1, enjoy the game. Alright, the most important tip that you'll ever get is just enjoy the game. Take it as just another game and don't try to rush being the best, because there will always be some room for improvement. If you end up losing a bunch of games, make sure you tell yourself that's okay, it's not the end. Just have a good time and the skills will follow. With that, we have reached the end of our video and I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. That's it for today and I will see you in the next one.